The night I died, I didn't scream. I didn't gasp for air like in the movies. There was no dramatic moment, no bang, no fire, no pain to warn you. It was just exhaustion. That heavy, sticky exhaustion that makes you think you just need 5 more minutes of sleep. I remember pulling the blanket higher and thinking, just close your eyes for a second. And then, like from very far away, I heard a voice in my apartment, unfamiliar and at the same time terrifyingly matter-of-fact. She's not sleeping, she's unconscious. Later, they told me that sentence was said when the paramedic found me in bed. But I heard it, not with my ears, somehow, from above, as if I were hovering over myself and someone else was the person in the bed. And in the moment I understood that exhaustion was killing me, it was already too late to simply wake up. My name is Yasmin, 37. And if I tell you I was one of those people who always just quickly gets everything done, you probably know exactly what I mean. I was the person who juggles appointments without anyone noticing. The mom, the friend, the coworker, the organized one. I wasn't necessarily the loudest person in a room, but I was the reliable one, the one who holds things together. My life wasn't chaos. From the outside, it looked stable. I had a small apartment in an older building, nothing perfect but cozy. I had a job where I carried responsibility without constantly being on display. And I had this image of myself, strong, independent, unbreakable. That was how I saw myself. The only problem was, I was exhausted. For years. Not just a little tired, but the kind of deep exhaustion you eventually stop feeling because it becomes your normal. I'd gotten used to pushing past my limits like it was a virtue. And whenever anyone asked how I was doing, I'd reflexively say, I'm fine. What I meant was, I can still function. Not, I'm actually doing well. I wasn't unhappy, but I was often cut off from myself. Like I was watching my life through a window. I see everything, I react, I get things done, but I'm not really in it. And I noticed that in my head I was constantly working through a list. What still needs doing? What's missing? What could go wrong? Who still needs something? I'd never learned how to accept help. Not because I was proud in a too good for it kind of way, but because deep down I believed, if I need help, I'm a burden. So I got good at not being one. That day, the day it happened, I was especially wiped out. I got home late from work, the sky was already dark, and I had that dull headache I usually shoved away with coffee or painkillers. I remember pausing in the stairwell because I felt dizzy. I blamed it on the day, on not eating enough, on stress. My apartment was cold even though the heat was on, or I thought it was on. I set my bag down, took off my shoes, and felt my body give up from the inside, like a phone that finally gets plugged into a charger. I made myself something to eat, but I barely ate. I sat on the couch, pulled a blanket over my legs, and my head grew heavy. There was this mild discomfort I couldn't place, no real pain, more like the start of the flu. I remembered that the heater had smelled weird the last few days, like something old or dusty. But I thought, old building problems. I wasn't scared. Why would I be? There was no warning loud enough to matter. I texted a friend that I wasn't coming out tonight. I put my phone down, went to the bathroom, brushed my teeth, and I remember my reflection, pale skin, tired eyes. I told myself, like I so often did, pull yourself together, just sleep. Then I went into the bedroom. And then came the part I only understood later. I lay down, and within minutes my head felt strangely light, like it was floating. At the same time, I felt heavy and somehow gone, like I was sinking into cotton. I turned onto my side and thought, I'm just overtired. I had no idea carbon monoxide was preventing my blood from carrying oxygen. I didn't know my body was suffocating in slow motion while I thought I was resting. The insidious thing about carbon monoxide is you can't smell it. No smoke, no alarm in your brain, just that deceptive feeling of sleepiness. And that exact feeling was there, pleasant, tempting, like a warm pull. I remember one last clear thought. Tomorrow will be better. Then everything turned gray. I don't know how long I was gone before I experienced what I can only describe now as detachment. There wasn't a moment where I thought, now I'm dying. It was more like I was suddenly above my bed, like I was looking down from the ceiling. I saw my bedroom. I saw myself lying in the bed. And I immediately had this strange feeling. That's me, but I'm not in there. It wasn't scary. It was astonishingly calm. I didn't feel panic, more like a factual clarity, as if fear was part of the body I wasn't wearing anymore. Then I heard noises from the hallway, not muffled through walls, but right there. A dull thud, footsteps, voices. I watched the apartment door open. Light spilled into the hall, and suddenly it felt very real. 2 people in dark clothing came in, fast, focused. One carried a striking bag, yellow, big, with reflective stripes. I remember that yellow. A completely useless detail, but it burned itself into my brain. The other had a mask over his face. I watched one of them come into the bedroom. He didn't move like someone being careful. He moved like someone who already knows what he's going to find. He said something, and I heard it clearly. She's not sleeping. She's unconscious. Then everything happened quickly. He leaned over my body, lifted my eyelid, called my name. I saw my own mouth slightly open, my skin a strange gray, and in me, or in whatever I was, something like shock appeared, but it still didn't taste like panic. More like, this is serious. This is final if nobody intervenes. Another paramedic yanked the window open. I saw cold night air rush into the room, the curtain shifting, and I heard another matter-of-fact sentence, like an observation that echoed inside me. There's something in the air, CO. I didn't even fully understand what that meant. I knew the word, carbon monoxide, but to me, that was something from the news, not from my bedroom. They pulled me out of bed, put me on the floor, started working. One pressed on my chest, rhythmically. I saw the body jerk, and it was the strangest thing. It didn't feel like me. It was like a doll someone was trying to save, and I was beside it, not cold, not indifferent, more like quietly watching, almost sad. I noticed something else. I didn't feel fear. I saw it in the rescuers' faces, in their fast movements, but inside me there was calm, like someone had switched off the emotional noise. Then the scene changed, not because I went somewhere, but because reality felt like it was turning a page. The apartment, the window, the bed. Everything moved farther away, and I was suddenly in something that didn't feel like a room, but also not like emptiness. It was bright, not harsh, not blinding, more like a soft white that wrapped around you, like fog made of light, warm and quiet. And in that light there was something, a presence. I'm searching for words that aren't cheesy, because it wasn't cheesy. It wasn't angels with wings. It wasn't a voice speaking religious phrases. It was more the feeling of being completely seen without having to defend yourself. And in that presence, something happened that has changed me more than anything else. I felt accepted. Not for what I do. Not as in, if you try hard, just accepted. Like my worth wasn't negotiable. That shocked me, because my whole life I had treated myself like I had to earn the right to exist. Through hard work, through strength, through not being a bother, through having everything under control. And in that light, none of that was necessary. Then something like a mirror appeared, not made of glass, but of truth. And if I could leave you with just one thing at the end, it's this. Don't wait for the moment your body stops you. You're allowed to stop before that. You're allowed to accept help before you fall. You're allowed to live without losing yourself in the process.